Good afternoon. My name is Sheila Lamb, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC Network. For those of you that are not familiar with our organization, the Virginia Small Business Development Center is a partnership program between the U.S. Small Business Administration, George Mason University, and local host institutions throughout Virginia. With 26 locations across the Commonwealth, we provide training and technical assistance to small businesses in their local communities. Our one-on-one advising services are available at no charge. Today's webinar, Success Through E-Commerce, is presented by the Virginia SBDC Network. Please mark your calendars for the next webinar in our Digital Bootcamp series, Keeping Up with Digital Marketing, A's for Your Q's, ChatGPT. That will occur on December 4th. I will drop that registration link into the chat momentarily. We are recording today's presentation, and it will be posted on our website, virginiasbdc.org. Due to the large number of participants, everyone's microphone is muted and the chat feature is turned off. But if you have questions during the presentation, you can type those into the Q&A box, and we will address them at the end of the session. We have also enabled a live transcript function, which you can show or hide via your own meeting controls. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our presenter for today's session, Cameron Nelson, CEO of Tenzing Startup Consultants. Cameron has over 20 years of experience in technology and is a senior tech consultant in Silicon Valley, helping Fortune 500 companies improve their digital marketing and e-commerce. At the same time, he also founded several tech companies, including a software as a service website for tree preservation and a blockchain platform for nonprofits. Cameron is accomplished in language, culture, has an MBA and MA. He believes new technology products have the ability to help shape our world for the better. Please join me in welcoming Cameron Nelson.
Thank you for the introduction. And hello, everybody. Welcome to this session on e-commerce and how your business can achieve success through using the right tools and strategies with your e-commerce platform. So I'm going to be walking through from a high-level view, really how do you get into e-commerce for a business, and also what are some of those techniques and tools you can use to maximize your time and your money and time spent on this endeavor. This is a very popular presentation, and every 3 to 6 months, there's new technology changes that really do shift how e-commerce works. And so I've updated this presentation as of November, so it's very relevant with relevant details and relevant information for you. So I hope that this is a very useful presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to save them to the end, and we'll get through as many of your questions as we have time for. So with that, let's jump right into it. We have 3 goals for the bootcamp today. The first goal is to learn what website and e-commerce platforms work best for your unique business. Number 2, I'm going to show you how to set up your e-commerce store, how to establish it, and how to list your products effectively. And third, I'm going to show you how to refine your strategy over time. After you launch your store, how do you implement techniques and strategies to maximize your profit, not just right after launch, but for years and years to come. First, I'd like to start by talking a little bit about what are the top reasons why e-commerce is a good platform for you to be focused on now in late 2025, going into 2026. The first reason why e-commerce is a powerful tool is that you have broad geographical reach. So overall, and worldwide, e-commerce is about a $7 trillion industry, and this impacts 33% of the world's population as they use e-commerce as a primary means of shopping. It's projected to reach over $8 trillion in just a couple of years. And here in the US, e-commerce is about 21% of all retail sales in 2025. So one nice thing about e-commerce is you can sell locally if you're in Virginia, you can sell nationwide, or you can sell internationally. You can shift that just with a few clicks of a button. With shipping internationally, it's very easy to expand your geographical reach. So unlike traditional stores where you might be more limited to customers who can actually come to you, e-commerce gives you that flexibility. Reason number 2 is that e-commerce is particularly useful in mobile shopping. So last year, the first year we have complete stats for, about 80% of retail website visits came from smartphones. And about 46% of all consumers now buy directly through social media platforms. So some very interesting stats, and we've definitely seen both of these stats rising year to year. And so you're able to get in front of this trend, and people can buy your products on a smartphone, as indeed about 80% of people are. I expect in 2025 we'll see that number if even increased a little bit. Reason number three is sustainability. Now, this is a big topic in today's e-commerce world and with small businesses in general, where surveys report that about 70% of consumers say they're willing to pay more for products that are sustainably produced. And this can mean a lot of different things for the different types of products people are selling. Think of recyclable packaging, locally sourced materials, and other sustainable practices. So I'm going to talk more about the sustainability element to running a successful small business online and doing e-commerce sales. Point number four is you have better personalization. So personalization just means that that shopping experience isn't a generic something, ad you would see in a newspaper or in a magazine, but you're able to personalize all of your marketing online as well as the presentation of your products. And over 80% of consumers prefer to buy from companies that personalize their shopping experience. And this can be as simple as showing them products of something they might be interested in on your website. And we see this a lot on an e-commerce platform like Amazon or the other big ones, where you'll be shopping for something and they'll show you recommended products at the bottom. So that's a type of personalization. And whether or not you're selling on Amazon or just purely on your own website, you can always refer to customers by name once they've signed up for your mailing list and you're emailing them. And in many other touch points throughout the experience of shopping, you can personalize that experience, which results in higher conversions or higher sales for you. And reason number five, again, is the conversions. It's easier to convert a person if they're shopping online. And all that means is that somebody who's looking at your product for sale isn't a paying customer yet until they've converted. And so a conversion is what you're really looking for. And many new business owners are gaining popularity with shoppers because it's easy to convert them versus a traditional brick and mortar experience. You can also offer unique products and personal touches that big retailers can't match if you're focused on selling e-commerce in a specific niche. And also, if you're creating an ad campaign to help you sell e-commerce, you can have a one-click link to your shopping page where people can buy that product and easily check out. So it reduces the friction in creating the sale, which is why e-commerce shopping is really good for easy conversions, and it really can help boost your sales. So that was just a brief overview to start with about why e-commerce is a good reason for you to be focused on. And next I want to segue into websites because if you are running an e-commerce business currently or you're looking to start one, it's probably a good idea to have a website to go along with selling on a third-party platform like an Amazon, Shopify, or Etsy. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what different types of websites are out there to support your e-commerce business. And if you already have a website, you can decide which level of these four you currently fit under, and if indeed you need to upgrade that to be successful or if you're good where you are. So level one website, I consider a very basic website. This is really the simplest website you'll see online, and it's not going to have any shopping or e-commerce capabilities at all. It can be sufficient if you just have a store where people come in to get a service, like maybe a hair salon. But if you're selling online, a basic level website that's very cheap, but it won't enable you to sell your products. For that, you'll need to upgrade to a level two or minimum level website to really enable an e-commerce business nowadays. This website will have links, have pages to show off your products for sale, but it's going to link to an external site, which could be an Amazon or a Shopify or an Etsy, for somebody to complete that shopping experience and actually pay with their credit card. Now, a level three or robust level website integrates the checkout experience and the credit card payments directly onto your website. This is a nice upgrade as far as not having people having to go to a third-party site to complete a checkout process. And it does give your brand a bit higher of an image and reputation online, which means you're usually able to charge a slightly higher premium for your products than you would with these other basic levels of websites. And I really do recommend if you're serious about creating an e-commerce business, you will be thinking about having a robust level website to support your efforts online. And lastly, an advanced level website has many more advanced shopping capabilities, such as video recommendations or video reviews. You can have a referral system in place, or if you want to sell subscription packages like a monthly or an annual subscription, you can do all of those things. And a level 4 or advanced level website will be what you need to support those types of functions. So if you already have a website and you're looking to upgrade, or you're just starting off with a brand new website, here are some considerations as you look to upgrade. If you don't have a website at all right now, you can get one of these basic level websites, usually for free or a very low monthly cost. These are available from Wix.com, Squarespace.com, and Weebly.com. And also, if you consider setting up a storefront on Shopify, Etsy, or Amazon, they offer you the ability to customize the look and the feel of your storefront. And in some situations, this can pass as a very basic website for your business. It does have the limitations I mentioned before. So if you're going to want to increase your image reputation and the brand quality online, you'll want to have at least a minimum level website or level 2. They're going to allow you to customize the look and the feel of your website much more with your logo, your own color scheme, your own fonts, and it's going to let you dial in your marketing to help you target your customers better. But you're still going to link to an external third-party site to complete the checkout process. You also won't be able to do anything like having user logins or sell subscription packages at this level. A level 3 or robust level website is usually going to be an investment, and this can range between $2,000 and $9,000 to hire a professional team to build this. And that difference really does come down to if it's being built here in the US, a Virginia-based developer, or offshore in another country where the labor is cheaper. But having a level 3 website really allows you to target your market with much greater customization, and you can do some more advanced marketing strategies like having unique landing pages for different marketing campaigns, do A/B testing on different landing pages to see what variation works the best. And a level 4 website is the most useful when you have something that's really complex to sell. Now, the cost here can start at about $8,000 and go to $45,000 or even more, depending on the features you need. But you can do a lot of different things here. You can geolocate your customers' positions if you want to offer certain products or certain deals in certain geographical areas. You can have a lot of video content to help you sell. You can have a subscription package. You can allow your users to log in and get a more custom or personalized experience. So these are the 4 different levels of websites. And so now you should have in your mind an idea of which level you're currently at if you have a website, and preferably which level you need to be at if you feel like you will need to upgrade to really meet your goals with your selling online. So I want to tell you a little bit about the costs associated with each of these levels of website. The first thing you'll pay for is the hosting of your domain name. So this is, if you don't have one yet, it's something like yourbusiness.com. And it's important to get a really good domain name that's short, it's easy to remember, and it is very similar to the actual name of your business legally. So if somebody sees on their credit card statement the name of your business, they're going to hopefully make a name recognition with the name of the website they bought the product from. So you want to make sure that it's closely aligned there. And you're going to pay about $20 a year to buy that domain name. Now, the next fee you'll pay for is what's called the hosting fee. This is the computer that serves up your website files, including the text, images, and videos, to your website visitors. For a basic level website, this starts at about $50 a year. And this cost goes all the way up to $250 a year or more if you have an advanced level website due to the increased number of images, pages, and videos. The second expense you can expect to pay is an email address at your domain name. And I think we've all seen a business starting out might use a free email address for customer service contact, like at a Gmail address. But if you're going to be serious about e-commerce business, it's a really good idea to get something like support@yourdomainname.com or info@, or if you want something more personal, you can just use your first name if it's a really small business and you just want to have that personal touch with your customers. It can be your name at your business. You can find a cheap email address at your domain name for about $12 a year. And I've seen these for sale at companies like Zoho, Zoho.com, and several others that offer these really, really budget email addresses. They work fine. You can send and receive. The experience isn't quite as sleek or sophisticated, though, as a more expensive platform. If you're going to invest in level 3 or 4 website, I recommend that you would also have a Google-powered email address, which means your email is running through the Gmail ecosystem and you get the same Gmail login and all the features of Google Workspace, like the calendar, the notes, Google Meet, the spreadsheets, and Google Drive, and all those features you get for about $75 a year per email address. I do think that's a really worthwhile investment for businesses who are starting out, as that enables a lot of good productivity features for $75 a year. The next expense category are paid ads. So if you built a great website, how do you drive more traffic there? Paid ads is a significant way that business owners do that. Now, if you only have a level 1 basic level website, it's probably not worth investing your money into paid ads. Rather, it's probably best to put that into an upgraded website, like a level 2 website. If you have a level 2 website, you can expect to spend about $100 a month to have a successful ad campaign. And typical results from an ad campaign, which would run on Google, Facebook, or maybe you want to have some videos and you can use YouTube or TikTok. People who even have a $100 monthly budget typically see between 5 and 10 times the number of website visitors than businesses who don't have an ad campaign at all. So even by spending $100 a month, you can increase the number of visitors to your website by 5 or 10x on average. So it's usually a very worthwhile expense. Now, if you have a level 3 robust level website, I would recommend around $3,000 a year for an ad budget. And advanced level websites that have more funding behind them can easily spend $10,000 a year or more to drive traffic to their website and increase their online sales. Now, of course, with any of these techniques, it's good to have an idea of what's your return on investment. So if you're investing $100 a month, you should be able to track. Well, you definitely can track, and what you should do is set up the tracking so you can see how many of those resulted in a sale, and out of the sale, how much profit did you derive from the ad dollar you spent. So all of that's readily available with your website and with Google Analytics. So it's just a matter of setting that up and watching the return on investment for your ad dollar spent. The next cost here is development. This is if you want to hire a freelance web developer or a small firm to build your website for you. I think everybody can build a level 1 or 2 website on their own. You don't need special skills. You just need a little bit of time to learn about some platforms, like I mentioned, and many of them are as simple as drag and drop elements onto a page, and you can build a little website. But if you want to hire somebody, expect to spend between $300 and $1,000 for a basic level website, $750 to around $3,000 for a minimum level website, $2,000 to $9,000 for a robust level website, and $8,000 and above for an advanced level website. Now, the only other expense you'll really need to consider here is what's called SSL, which is an encryption layer in your website for any credit card information entered there as it goes on to the banks. Because the level 1 and 2 website don't actually process credit card payments there on the website, you don't need this. But if you're processing credit card payments with a level 3 or 4 website, you can expect to spend about $100 a year for this certificate. So these are your main expenses when you're building and maintaining a website for your small business. So the reason why I start talking about the websites is because I feel in 95% of cases, a small business is very well served by having that website built nicely. It's really targeted your products to your buyers, and you know what they're looking for. And in addition to having your own website built very strongly with the features I mentioned, a lot of businesses decide to sell their e-commerce products on one or multiple of these platforms. And it's completely fine to list your products for sale in multiple places. A lot of businesses find that's their best revenue stream is by doing that. It mainly comes down to how much time you have to update pages and product listings across all of these different sites. So these are the top 5 e-commerce sites in 2025 for small businesses to use. I'm going to talk about them in some detail, and I'd like you to have in your mind a sense of which of these platforms will work best for you to sell your products on to your unique market. The first one we have is Shopify. The pricing of Shopify ranges between $9 and $79 per month. You have to pay more if you want things like selling monthly subscriptions or selling digital products. And so it ranges there based on what you need them for. And they also charge a transaction fee for the credit card processing, which can drop to zero if you use their payment gateway to do that. And I'm going to talk about payment gateways towards the end of the presentation, but just keep in mind Shopify does have that nice bonus that these others don't. And Shopify is extremely easy to set up your e-commerce products on. Anybody can do it, even if they've never built a website or set up an e-commerce store before. But because it's so easy, it's quite streamlined, and it doesn't allow you to customize your checkout process very much, not compared to some of the other options here. And as far as customization of the checkout process and how the products are displayed, you always have the most customization on your own website. And all of these are going to give you less customization, but make it slightly easier for you to list your products for sale. But they're also going to take a fee for that. So you're also going to make the most profit selling your products directly on your own website. Option number two is Etsy. Etsy charges a 6.5% transaction fee and a 20-cent listing fee per item. And they also tack on roughly a 3% payment processing fee. Now, Etsy, as some of you might know, is really focused on handmade, vintage items, craft supplies, and things like that. So if you're selling products in one of these categories, Etsy is a logical place because your buyers are already coming here looking for those products for sale. Etsy is also extremely easy to set up and to post your products on, just like Shopify. Third is Facebook Shops. Now, don't confuse this with Facebook Marketplace, which is more like a Craigslist alternative where people sell one-off used items for sale. But Facebook Shops is really like an Etsy or Shopify, where it's made for a small business to list multiple items for sale of the same item, right? So you have 100 inventory of the same item. You want to sell them all. And it's geared towards helping you do that using the giant user base of Facebook, which is over 2.5 billion users on Facebook. Facebook charges a 5% fee or a 40-cent fee on items that will ship that are sold and shipped for $8 or less. And it's geared towards small businesses and merchants. So Facebook, after Google, is the world's second largest search engine. So people are going there all the time looking for goods and services. So if you're already on Facebook with your small business and you have a following and you're actively posting, Facebook Shops can be a logical place for you to sell your products on. It just integrates really nicely with their other features, and also it integrates directly into Instagram, which Facebook owns. Fourth here is Amazon. Now, Amazon is the world's largest e-commerce platform, so they've really figured out how to sell products well. You can list your items there on Amazon for $1 per item or a $40 a month fee, plus a fee of between $2 and $6 per item in fulfillment services. So Amazon's unique here because they will allow you to warehouse your items with them, and they will handle your shipping, they'll handle your returns, they'll handle your customer service, whereas these other platforms don't do that. And Amazon will charge you between $2 and $6 generally for these fulfillment services. So some businesses find it's really nice to offload those tasks to Amazon. Others don't like the fees and they find it's not worth the time. So you do have to just decide based on what you're selling and what your profit margins are, if that makes sense for you. Now, I think the Amazon experience is far and away the best if you're selling multiple configurations or sizes of your products. So think of clothes, shoes, or things that come in different patterns and styles. Amazon has a good way of you listing those and your target buyer finding the correct item for sale there. Now, last on the list is Amazon Handmade. This is Amazon's answer to Etsy and Shopify, where it's more of a niche market. Now, you do need to qualify to get into Amazon Handmade by submitting an artisan application, and this process can take a while, can take around a month sometimes. They don't have any monthly fee for Amazon Handmade sellers, but there's a 15% fee on all of your sales. So arguably, it could be the most expensive one here, depending on how your revenue structure and your pricing structure is. But if you're on Amazon Handmade, you still get the same all Amazon experience, which is really dialed in, and it's made at the best e-commerce platform, the biggest e-commerce platform in the world. So these are the top 5 e-commerce platforms. And now we're going to go into each one in a little bit more detail so you can get a sense of which platform or platforms might work best for you. So we'll start again with Shopify. And Shopify sells themselves to you, the business owner, as the global e-commerce platform. And they say, build your business with Shopify to sell online, offline, and everywhere in between. And a big push for Shopify the last year or two has been helping you sell both physically in a store, in a pop-up store, in a farmer's market, by giving you a credit card swiping reader and integrating your inventory and your sales data from the website to the physical location seamlessly. So it is really handy to have Shopify handle all of that, track your inventory, and give you payouts. And it doesn't matter where you sell, if it's physical or online. So it's very easy to use. It does own its own payment processing network, and so you can save on the 2 to 3% credit card transaction fees if you use Shopify. However, I'll say that Shopify adds in, I mean, they don't just lose that money, right? They're actually adding in those fees elsewhere. So as you look at their monthly fee of between $6 and about $80, you'll see that they are going to get their money out of you by using their platform. Now, Shopify can scale very, very well. You can list one item or you can list thousands of items. So it scales up very well. Doesn't matter how many items you want to list or how big or small your physical items are, or if they're a digital item or a physical item, you can scale those up and sell more with Shopify, and the system works well for handling that. In addition, if you build a website on Shopify, and because Shopify is actually a platform for building websites on, they have an app marketplace, which allows you to add features to your website without having to hire a developer. So I won't go into more detail on that unless people want information. You can ask about that, but just know that what it means is Shopify will handle you building your business website on Shopify. It'll handle your e-commerce sales both online and physically. And that's really what they strive to do and the best in the field, and they do it very well. And I know a lot of businesses, probably I've spoken to 10 or 15 this year who use Shopify and are pretty happy with it. One other thing that Shopify has opened up in the last couple of years is helping you sell a digital token of, of a digital item you're selling. These are called NFTs, and this is kind of along the lines of blockchain, cryptocurrency, and Bitcoin, if you're familiar with those. But NFTs are another element of blockchain technology, and they became really popular a couple of years ago. People are selling digital artwork because you can sell a unique copy of a piece of digital artwork or indeed a music or a video, anything like that. And it can be a unique piece that can't be copied. And so if your business is selling something that's a digital, could be art, music, videos, or something else, Shopify supports you creating these NFTs and helps you sell them. And you can learn more about it here at the website, shopify.com/NFT. And I think this is pretty cool. Shopify is the only major e-commerce platform that has any kind of focus or helping people go set these NFTs up and sell them. So if you're interested in that, I encourage you to check out Shopify's offering and see if it fits with your products. The second store on our list is Etsy. And you can see by looking at some of the categories that Etsy is listing on their homepage, what kind of products they are hoping you will sell here. We have unique gifts for dad, so these would be seasonal gifts, things like outdoor entertaining, glassware, leather goods, wedding gifts. You see a lot of wood products, you see a lot of handmade jewelry products. So if your business is selling anything like this, Etsy is a logical place to go because people come here and search specifically for these types of products. So it has that niche market focus, which can be very useful if you're making handcraft goods. It's also very easy to set up an Etsy store page and list your products for sale. You have that immediate built-in audience because Etsy essentially works as its own search engine, and people come here searching instead of on Google or Facebook, but they'll come to Etsy and search for these types of products for sale. Etsy also offers some very helpful tools to help a seller understand their analytics, how many people viewed a product and didn't buy it. Maybe you can learn what's going wrong with your product listings and fix them over time. So good analytics support with Etsy. Next up is Facebook Shops. And again, this is shops on Facebook and Instagram. So when you create a product for sale on Facebook Shops, it's able to be sold on Facebook and Instagram, two of the largest social media platforms in the world. So you have a ton of visitors to your product pages. You have potentially a ton of sales with Facebook and Instagram's over 2.5 billion worldwide users. So you have that direct access to a very large audience. Integration with social media. As we know, social media now accounts for a huge percentage of online sales, almost 50%. So that's just a growing statistic, and we'll expect that to be even higher next year. So being in a social media selling environment is a very good place to be for your business, and it will position it well in the next 3 to 5 years. As far as the actual shopping experience, Facebook Shops offers you a lot of customization options, very similar to Shopify and Etsy, about how do you want your shop page to look, how do you want to organize your products. You can list all the details and have photos, videos, and text to help you sell your products. And Facebook also is a very well-known company for gathering lots and lots of data. So they offer you insights into who's visited your stores. Facebook knows a lot of data about the people on their platform, even their marital status, where they work, their hobbies, etc. So you can gather this information by looking at their analytics of your store pages. And if you want to do an ad on Facebook to help you promote your products, you can get really specific with the data they know. You can say, only show my ad to people who live in Virginia who walk their dog on the weekends. Now, I don't know if that's a piece of data Facebook actually has, but they do have an awful lot of data. So when you go and build an ad there, you're able to specifically target demographics, geographics, interests, hobbies, etc. And you can only get access to those insights and the data Facebook has by selling on Facebook and having an ad on Facebook. So Facebook is famous for the amount of data it knows about its users, and some privacy people who are concerned with privacy issues don't appreciate Facebook gathering this data. So if you're not comfortable with the amount of data Facebook gathers about you as a store owner, as of the products you sell, to help you target and sell them better, but if you're not comfortable with that, then I would stay clear of Facebook, because they do take any data they want from you as the user, and they do sell that to other people and businesses to make more money off of it, kind of however they want. So they're known for doing that. And if you already use Facebook for your business, then it's going to be a logical place to sell your products. Now, next up is Amazon, which is the world's largest e-commerce platform. Now, Amazon has really good ways of displaying products, different categories of products, and different configurations. So sizes, shapes, colors. If your product comes in multiple variations, you're going to probably find that Amazon gives you the best experience to help you sell those products. In addition to having a good shopping experience, Amazon has the massive customer base from being the #1 e-commerce platform. They offer those fulfillment services, which can make them very unique. They can warehouse your products, they can ship them out. Your buyers can get free shipping if they're an Amazon Prime customer. So there's a lot of synergies and savings that can be had with Amazon. They also give you a wealth of advertising tools. You can have ads on Amazon. They also, similar to Facebook, have a lot of data on products and buyers. And so you can use the data they know about their customers to help target your products to them better. Now, the biggest risk of using Amazon is the abundance, I would say, of counterfeit goods on the platform. I'll give you one example. A couple of years ago, I worked with an SBDC client in Virginia who made a handmade pasta, and they were selling exclusively on Amazon for several months and making over 100,000 a year revenue, or sorry, 100,000 a month sales on Amazon alone. And because they had exploded in popularity in a short amount of time, another company, we don't know where they were, counterfeited their product, even down to the packaging and the logo, and were selling just an inferior type of pasta, but just essentially ripping off the original company's branding and trademarks. And the company found out about this after noticing a huge drop off in sales, contacted Amazon and complained about a counterfeit, a fraud case, and Amazon wouldn't take any action. And this is a big problem where Amazon doesn't really step in to resolve conflicts with counterfeiting goods. And this company, in the example, they went through several months of a very painful loss of sales and had to build their own website and sell on their own website and shift off of Amazon. And you can imagine how hard that was, both when they were losing all of their sales and trying to build a whole new e-commerce platform and shift over to that. And this is a reason why I recommend you have a website be an essential cornerstone of your e-commerce experience. Because if you find that a store you're selling on is doing something you don't like, you have a fallback ready to go, and you can shift your ads to your own website and away from a third-party e-commerce site and shift your marketing there. And without having that fail-safe and that fallback, you're really at the mercy of a platform like Amazon, and your sales could just vanish in a couple of months due to counterfeit or just some other issue. So Amazon has a kind of a bad reputation for that. Now, if you're a small business owner doing just a few thousand or a few 10,000 a month in revenue, you probably won't get counterfeited. But at a certain point, if you grow big enough, anybody could try to counterfeit your goods, and Amazon really won't take action. So that's a risk, just something to be aware of. But Amazon also has these other benefits, as I mentioned, so it can still be a good choice if you're looking to sell online. Amazon Handmade is their answer to Etsy and helping you sell homemade goods and handcrafted goods. You can see from the pictures here on their website some of the product categories, things like pets, beauty and grooming, kitchen and dining, home decor, jewelry. So very similar to Etsy here. Now, because you have an artisan application, including interviews over the phone and maybe even video interviews to get accepted, there's more brand integrity on this platform. The products here are unique and of high quality. Again, these products are eligible for that prime shipping, which means your products can ship to your customers for free, which is really nice. There's no listing fees, but there is a 15% fee on all of your sales. And you can still get those Amazon fulfillment services like in the warehousing, handling your returns, etc. So if you can get into Amazon Handmade and you're willing to wait through the application process and jump through all the hoops, it can be a great place for you to list and sell your products online. Now that we've talked about building your website and the top 5 e-commerce platforms out there, we're going to talk now about how do you set up your e-commerce store. Now, this process is going to be very similar for any of the 5 e-commerce platforms we talked about. You're first going to find a product to sell. You're going to customize your e-commerce template or that starting template for your storefront, and you're going to add your products. So let's first talk about how do you find a product to sell. I get asked this a lot by small business owners. They say, we have a catalog of 100 products. Which one should we list on the website? We're just starting out. So the first question is, how many products do you need to be selling there? I would recommend not listing 100 products if you're just jumping into e-commerce sales, because it'll take an awful lot of time to source the images, the text, the videos, put in the prices, the dimensions, the shipping details. It can be overwhelming when you're also trying to do a lot of other things to get your e-commerce store up and running. I would focus on between 10 and 20 items to start. And when you're looking to decide which items, ask yourself these questions. Does the item solve a customer pain point? And the bigger the pain it's solving, the better that item's going to sell. Does the product appeal to an enthusiast or hobbyist group? And if so, then Amazon Handmade or Etsy can be logical places to sell it. Does the product go with your own personal passion and your professional experience? Because selling e-commerce is a very competitive place. There's a lot of other people selling probably similar products to yours. So every advantage you can have, you should take advantage of. So your own professional experience, if it gives you unique insights, you should go with that and sell products related to that. Do your products capitalize on trends early? And you should be reading reviews on existing products to find out what's working, what people like about them, and especially what people don't like about them. So you can change either how you describe your product in the listing pages, or you can design your product differently so you address the issues people have with other similar products. You should litmus test before you launch. So if you have a catalog of 100 products and you're going to launch with 10, instead of picking 10 that are all from the same category or they're all very similar, it's better to pick 10 that are diversified. And you're going to test and see which these different types of products you can sell best online. And over a month or two of getting that data, you'll be able to then focus on those categories where you feel like they have the most potential. You can be browsing what's trending. So Amazon has their number one sellers in different categories, which is updated daily. There's other online tools which analyze e-commerce sales data and help you find trends, both on products that are selling well. And as we come to a holiday season, seems like every holiday season there's a new hot product. Well, if you're looking to sell in the holiday season and you want to find out what these hot products are, you should pay attention to reports and news stories, and also third-party sites that are actively seeking out hot products and give you some ideas. Always sell products with a higher profit margin. Now, if you've been selling a product in a physical store, in a brick and mortar store, and you're going to shift to online, you're going to have maybe more fees. You're going to have probably a lower revenue per item sold because it's a more competitive space. So you might need to sacrifice some profit margin to sell online versus your traditional sales channels. So you need to start with products that already have a high enough profit margin that you can take a little bit of a hit there and still be profitable. And lastly, always be on the lookout for opportunities, as your competitors in this space are always going to be hunting for opportunities and finding out trends. You can't be stagnant on selling online. You need to be constantly innovating and staying abreast of the latest trends. So now that you've picked your products that you want to be selling, let's talk about how do you customize your e-commerce template? Now, what does this mean? Well, when you start with any of these 5 e-commerce platforms, they'll let you pick from some layouts that'll look somewhat similar to the ones here on the left. You'll have options of button layouts, placement of images and text. And you should ask yourself these 3 questions when you're browsing through these to pick one. First question is, what features do you want your store to have? And what style of homepage do you want? So you can see some of the examples have a smaller image and a bigger one. Some of them have the text at the top or on the side. How do you want your customers to see your store? What's that first impression you want to make? And ask yourself, how do you want your customers to move around your store? The navigation of it. Do you want your products listed on the home page? Do you want them on a second page or in categories? And this can help you pick the starting template. Now, once you've decided on the starting layout and the template, you can change pretty much anything about it, including the text size and the font used, the color scheme of the buttons and other elements. Of course, you can replace the default images with your own. When you get to the product pages, you can position the products differently. You can edit the features and product listings. And it's always a good idea, if you have social media pages that you're active on, to embed those links. And the reason is because people will not necessarily buy your product the very first time they visit that product page, but they might take a few days to think about it. They might do a little research. And if they can see your social media links there in the footer of your page, they can quickly go to those Facebook or X or YouTube or TikTok pages or whatever you're using, learn more about your company, and hopefully it encourages them to make that buying decision. So once you've decided on your template and you've customized it, it's time to add your products. In order to add your products, you're going to need to know several things about them. You're going to need to have a name for the product that makes some sort of logical sense and is especially attuned to your target market and your buyers and what they're looking for in a product name, what's going to really resonate with them. The price of the product, the category of the product, the weight of any physical products for shipping purposes, and of course, a file for any downloadable products. So there's 3 ingredients for a great product listing, which is going to be writing the product description, using good product images, and picking the right categories to list your product in. So the product description is a very important piece of selling your product online. It needs to be convincing, but there's several things you should definitely avoid. Definitely avoid using complex jargon and abbreviations. If you're in a certain industry, you might use jargon and abbreviations every day and you assume people just know what it means. But it's a real mistake to use those things in a product listing because you just might alienate someone who doesn't understand that term, and they might have been a buyer, but they're not a buyer because you didn't explain what the abbreviation meant. So always spell them out. Don't use cliches because they really don't help you sell a product, and avoid using long sentences. I think as we all know, people's attention spans seem to be getting shorter and shorter each year. And a study done about a year ago showed the ideal length of a description of a product for sale online. And you can imagine it's probably only gotten shorter. So the ideal a year ago was, and this was based on Amazon sales data and the best-selling products on Amazon and analyzing their descriptions, was between 3 and 5 sentences of text followed by 5 to 8 bullet points of additional information. This was the ideal. More than this, people wouldn't read it. Less than this, people felt like they weren't getting the information they needed. So 3 to 5 sentences, 5 to 8 bullet points. That might be a little shorter this year when the new data has been released, and we might see that's gone down a little bit. Maybe it's now only 6 bullet points and 4 sentences max of text. So use your own judgment when writing your product descriptions, but keep in mind the shorter the text, probably the more impactful it will be, and use images, and if you can, videos, more to help you sell the products. So how do you take the best product images? Selling images, selling products based on high quality images is a very important part of e-commerce. Here in the example on the left, we have a photography light box. It's a very simple setup where you can put your products here on the white mat at the bottom. You have a camera on a tripod, so it gives you a consistent angle and consistent lighting of your products. And you can take your product images here in the light box. You can buy these photography light boxes for $20 or $30 online, or you can build your own. So here's a few points to keep in mind when taking product pictures. Only use the highest quality images. So never use a blurry image, something that's pixelated or too small or out of focus. Make sure each of your images is the same size and dimensions. So you don't want some images that are big and take up the full kind of area for an image on your e-commerce page and have others that are small, shrunken, maybe just in the corner that aren't the full size. So make sure each image is the same size. You can take your own photos. You don't need to hire a professional for this. You can use any good smartphone from the last few years. Sometimes you can have a 360-degree view option if you're uploading images to Amazon or your own website can support this. That's really useful if you want your customers to be able to see what's around the back and the sides of your product. Add product variation images. So if you've got different colors or patterns, make sure you've got every variation taken a photo of so they can see exactly the variation they would be buying. Also, if you have a high resolution image, sometimes you can allow somebody to zoom in on the image through your e-commerce store. And lastly, if you're taking images from a smartphone, then they can be very large in size, could be 5 or 10 megabytes. And that's a giant size for trying to upload to an e-commerce store. So before you just upload an image you just took from your smartphone, you're going to want to upload it to an online image compression tool, which will shrink the file size, but really won't affect the image quality very much. There's many different options out there, and I don't really have one that I recommend, but if you just Google free online image compression tool, you will find one. You can upload your images and get a compressed version. You want to do this to make sure your site loads fast. And if it's your own website, that it's going to give you a good search engine optimization or SEO score because you have optimized images and the pages load quickly. Now here's some examples of what I think are really good product images from the last couple of years. Different ways you can think about taking your images or creating infographics to help you sell your products. Firstly, we have a dimension image, which would be you'd hire a professional 3D artist or graphic artist to make, and it'll show the relative dimensions of your product. In this case, it's like a cat holder for an Alexa, relative to the size of the device. So this is useful if the relative scale of your product is hard to get across in images, but it's a key selling point. Next, we have a comparison chart, which will show, again, the main pain points that you're solving with your product. You're going to show how your product does this better than your competitors' products. Another idea is a 3D image and an infograph The example here of this water filter does both. It has a 3D image of what's going on inside of the product, as well as an infographic on the side that has those key selling highlights. And if you're looking for more ideas and inspiration of product images that work well, you can think of the creation process images, a scale shot showing the relative scale, usually next to a human or some other object where it makes sense, and a group shot of closely related products. So all of these products, image ideas are good and will help you sell your products better online and increase your online sales. Now, as we saw in the statistics, about 46% of consumers are more likely to purchase from companies that have an initiative of environmental friendly practices and sustainability. So how exactly you implement this varies a lot between your business, business to business, what are you selling and who you're selling it to. But here are some guidelines to start with, and you can customize these more for your unique business. The first one is you can implement sustainable practices. Things like ethical sourcing of your products, eco-friendly packaging, right? Recyclable or made from post-consumer recycled material, and environmentally friendly manufacturing processes if possible. So by implementing one or all of those items, the business benefits are increased brand loyalty and better competitiveness in the market, where a large percentage of consumers want to support brands that are eco-friendly. Now, the last part of becoming a successful eco-friendly business is how do you communicate your results? So communicating them in your brand packaging, on the product description, on your website. If you have a website with an FAQ page, you should talk about your sustainability practices there. And lastly, evaluate and adjust. If you're both having ethically sourced products and eco-friendly packaging, and the feedback you're getting is nobody cares about the ethically sourced part, but they're really focused on the eco-friendly, and that's why they buy your product, you should double down on that element of your initiative here with sustainability, because every target market will appreciate different elements of a sustainability focus on your e-commerce business. So always be looking at your feedback and adapting your strategy over time. Now it seems like every week there's new news announcements and updates with AI, and selling in e-commerce has not been immune to this trend. All of these four platforms here have a significant focus on AI now, and we can only expect to see this increase in the future. In general, AI is being used to analyze customer data, and no surprise there. It's what companies have been doing in the past, but they're using AI to make it faster and more efficient. They're also using AI to enhance customer satisfaction and helping you as the seller increase your conversion rate. And this is done by providing a more tailored shopping experience to your target market. So let's look at how Shopify is implementing AI. First off, they're personalizing product recommendations based on the user's browsing history and purchase history, and using AI to infer other related products they think it will be interesting to the buyer. And what you're hoping for is that their AI recommends your products. Etsy is using AI to improve search and discovery, so similar to Shopify. Etsy is helping you as a seller optimize your search listings to match buyer search patterns and preferences. Facebook is using AI to personalize the shopping experience and make product recommendations, so this is a pretty strong trend across all these platforms. AI is also being used on Facebook to have visual search. So Instagram is a platform heavily focused on images. And if you're selling a pink handbag with a yellow butterfly stitched on it, say, I just made that up, but you can imagine anything. Facebook and Instagram are using AI to look at the images of products for sale. And even if pink handbag, yellow butterfly stitching isn't in your product description anywhere, the AI can see that and match it up if somebody's looking for that type of a product. So that's really cool. And that's showing how AI is able to instantly scan all these images and find these similarities to the search terms. And even though Shopify and Etsy don't say they're doing anything like that now, I'm sure they will be next year. That's just a logical use of AI to help the buyer find the product they're looking for. And when it comes to Amazon, they're also using AI to provide shopping suggestions. They're helping you as a seller forecast your demand and help you manage inventory. And how they do this varies based on what you're selling and what season it is, but AI is taking into account a whole lot of information and giving you recommendations of increase of inventory demands coming up or different types of products maybe you sold in the past, and they might recommend you have some more for sale coming up soon. So it can help you manage your production and logistics and getting those products into the hands of the customers. So next I want to talk about how do you launch your store and maximize your profits. So you've already found your products, you've already taken the images, and you're ready to launch your store. So first off, talk about setting up your payment methods and what are your options. Next, we'll talk about how to preview, test, and publish your online store. And lastly, how do you follow up and get a grounded analysis of your progress and results, and also a good strategy for going forward. First, let's talk a little bit about marketing your store. Now, this is a quick summary from a presentation I give dedicated to digital marketing techniques, but it's good to leave you with at least a summary of the marketing strategies to help you promote a new e-commerce business. Number one is be active on social media and with email marketing. By doing this, it can increase your brand awareness and personalize that very important personalization again, which is something like sending an email to somebody with a salutation to their first name. And you can use a free service like MailChimp to start an email marketing campaign that can help you drive a lot of sales traffic to your website. Number two is content marketing. So this can be blogging or creating a video showcasing a feature of your product or how to use it. Posting regular updates could be photos, videos, or text on social media platforms like Facebook, X, maybe LinkedIn. Number three is local marketing. If you're focused mainly on selling to a local market, you prefer not to ship, people come to you, then you need a robust Google Business profile, which puts your business on Google Maps. You can also consider having a listing on Nextdoor, which is similar to Google Maps. It just helps people find local businesses. There's also online groups and discussion groups. These can be on Facebook or other online forums, maybe Reddit, and being active on these can help you find your customers. And fourth is designing and productivity tools. So you're going to probably be making images for online sales for your products, maybe graphics for marketing and online ads. Canva is a great tool that allows many entrepreneurs and small business owners to create those graphics that they need very quickly. I use it a lot of graphic designers use it, and a lot of small business owners use it. They have a free tier, and if you need to unlock more tools there, you can pay a small monthly fee. There's another service called Unsplash, which has a huge free archive of images, which can be very useful. And don't forget about using the free Google Analytics tool, which can track website traffic to your webpage and give you insights into what your customers are viewing, why they're leaving your page without buying something, what products are selling the best, and a lot of other details. And these are all free or have free levels for you to get started with. So for some of you who may be starting off in e-commerce, you might be wondering how exactly does the payment process work? Well, a customer enters their credit card on your website, they submit an order, that's going to go to your online store, which can be your website or your Shopify page or whatever store they're buying from. That's going to go on to the payment gateway, which is like the credit card network. So this can be Visa, American Express, MasterCard, or Discover. And then they're going to go to an issuing bank and confirm the payment. And they're going to send those responses back to the credit card, and the payment's going to go through. And of course, you as the merchant, you will get your payout that comes from the payment gateway. So the typical charge for this is between 1% and 10 cents per transaction to 3% and 30 cents per transaction. This varies based on the customer's type of credit card, what the payment gateway is, who they are, and what the issuing bank is. And all those fees can add up in different ways. There's three different ways that you can set up your payment method to get paid. You can use a merchant account and a payment gateway. So if you have a bank like Bank of America or Chase, they will gladly take the credit card payments on your website. They're of course the issuing bank already, and they'll use their own in-house payment gateway. They will get the fee, and you'll pay them the fee, and they'll deposit the money in your merchant bank account. Option number two is a payment gateway package. This is a third-party software package, and a good example of this is called WooCommerce, which is the #1 gateway on the WordPress website building platform. So if you've never heard of WordPress or WooCommerce, that's okay, but it's used by millions of people, and WooCommerce is the gateway, and they connect the bank to the customer to the merchant. And lastly is simplified credit card processing. Shopify payments, as I mentioned, Shopify built their own payment gateway. And so they offer you a 0% fee, but it's kind of sneaky because they charge you fees in other ways. But that would be one example of a simplified credit card payment processing, Shopify's integrated payment system. So depending on your unique setup and who your bank is and what you're selling, any one of these three could be the most cost-effective solution for you. I just want you to be aware of all of your options so you can go in with that information when you make the decision. Next, it's going to be time to preview, test, and then publish your online store. At this point, you're going to have a store with your branding up, your fonts, your products, your prices, all of these details. And you need to check and make sure everything is set up correctly and everything is typed in correctly. So you want to make sure that all of your store's buttons are working. This is critically important if you're building your own website because there's fewer checks and safeguards, meaning you could have put a button that goes nowhere on your website, or you could have put a button that goes to the wrong place. If you're using a Shopify or an Amazon, they kind of simplify this for you and pretty much make sure buttons go to the right places and links go to the right places. They don't allow you to launch a site with broken links, but you still should check and make sure every button goes to the right place. And of course, check your content. It's easy to have a typo. It's easy to have a wrong product image, or maybe you uploaded an image that was blurry and you have a higher resolution version. So it's a good time to swap that out. Check it yourself and have a group of other people check the page, both on smartphones, on tablets, and on computers, so you can make sure it works well on every type of device. So now you've tested your store and you've launched it. And now hopefully you're watching your analytics every day with eager anticipation, watching the orders roll in. And if you're not seeing as many orders, or indeed if you're not seeing as many visitors to your website and the pages as you hoped, you're at least getting some information as to why. Are there products and sellers that are undercutting you in price? Is there some other reason why people aren't coming to your pages or buying from them? So it's a good time to analyze 4 to 6 weeks after you launch, to sit down with somebody, and could be an advisor at the SBDC or another trusted advisor or professional, and discuss some of these questions. Did you meet your sales and revenues goals for the first month? What feedback did you receive from your customers online? This can be both in star reviews, this could be in emails they sent you, it could be in other feedback given, or maybe they've left you a review on Google Maps. You should take all that data into consideration. You can also see what products sold the best and the worst. And this is what I meant by litmus testing your product launch. If you launch 10 or 15 products, you're going to have a sense of which categories you might want to really exploit going forward because you had the most sales there. Also, you can talk about what new ideas you had for products to sell and what have you learned from your competitors. Because in addition to gathering your own data on your sales trends, you have access to some data on your competitors. There's sites that aggregate sales data and trends. One website that's good for this is called Camel Camel Camel. That's just like the animal. It's camelcamelcamel.com. And there's other sites like them, and what they do is they look at the public information on Amazon and other top e-commerce sites, and you can find interesting facts about your competitors and how they performed in the last month as well. And lastly, consider what you're going to change and do differently going forward because no e-commerce strategy should ever stay static. With the rapid advance of technology and the aggressive nature of your competitors, staying static for 6 or 12 months is not going to serve you well selling online. So you should always be innovating and looking for new opportunities as you're going forward, and always be speaking to a trusted professional as you get advice and navigate these situations that can help you plan the best path forward based on your product, your skills, and the target market that you're selling into. So I thank you for attending today's session. I hope this information was helpful and gave you new insights into both building your own website for e-commerce sales as well as selling on a third-party platform if you choose. If you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to us. Our email address is here on the screen. Also, I'm now happy to answer your questions live as you have them, and you can type them into I believe the Q&A box here on your screen, and we'll get through as many of them as we have time for today. Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you, Cameron. We have a couple questions already in the Q&A. First question, do you recommend spending large sums on a domain name if someone else already owns it?
So when it comes to buying a domain name, as I said, they start at about $20 per year, and that's assuming nobody already owns it. Now, what happens a lot of times is you might have a business and somebody else has bought a domain name that you would prefer for your business, and sometimes that person has listed it for sale. So I think what this question is about is there's a domain name that's being listed for sale at an elevated price, and would you spend a lot of money on buying that? It depends on your business plan and what does a lot of money mean for your business plan. Because some businesses will spend $1,000 to buy a domain because they really want that name, where other businesses would never consider it because it's not in their budget to do so. So I would just look closely at alternative names. You don't need a .com. There's many other options out there. There's .biz, there's .net, there's .org, which can be applicable if you're kind of in a nonprofit space, not a commercial space. But there's hundreds of different extensions, and they are made specifically to alleviate pressure on these .coms. So you don't need to be stuck with just looking for a .com. If you have additional questions about specific ideas you're considering there, feel free to email us here at help@virginiasbdc.org. And you can just say that you came to the presentation today and you'd like me to review some name choices. I'd be happy to give you some feedback directly on those.
Great. Next question. Can you explain more how the Google-powered email works?
Absolutely. So in order to have an email address at a domain name that you bought, not at Gmail or at Hotmail or at Yahoo, but at your business domain name, you need to pay a company who's going to host your emails, and you're going to pay them a monthly fee for that. So having it hosted at Google, it means the same as having it hosted at Gmail, essentially. And what it means is Google takes on the role of your email provider for your domain name. You can then create an email at your domain name. It's about $8 a month, $8 or $9 a month. And they give you then the email. You can log in, you can send and receive emails, and it's all through your business. And you also get access to all of the Google Docs and Google Calendar and Google Spreadsheets that Google offers for its free Gmail users, which you might be familiar with. So you get all of that for the price of about $8 or $9 per month.
Okay, so next question. I'll read it through and let me know if you want me to back up. So Amazon cannot be held accountable to, and I think this is when you were talking about the pasta. So Amazon cannot be held accountable to even remove a counterfeit item, even via lawsuit. Are they protected by law from that accountability, even if we do not list on Amazon?
That's a good question. I think there's maybe several parts to it. And I will say I'm not a legal expert, and it sounds like that's a question probably better suited to someone who is a legal expert specifically with online selling and Amazon, because there's a lot of details that I don't think I would get right. But overall, from what I've heard and read in the last 3 to 5 years, Amazon is not held accountable for counterfeit goods. I don't know why. They're probably too big and they have good lawyers. But whatever the case, if you are counterfeited on Amazon, I suggest you contact a good lawyer who can help you. I don't really have the most up-to-date information or answers on that. I wouldn't want to lead you astray. but there are probably resources through the local SBDC who can get you in touch with the right person to answer that question. So again, feel free to reach out to us via email for that assistance.
And I dropped that into the chat a little while ago. Let's see. Oh, what are your feelings about affiliate marketing? Can you apply these same approaches with modification? No merchant services needed, etc.
That's a great question. So that dives a little bit deeper into the affiliate marketing side. And I had that one slide on marketing techniques. And again, I have a whole presentation on that where I talk about affiliate marketing in excruciating detail. But I think in a nutshell, affiliate marketing can be great if you have influencers in your industry and they want to talk about your products on their Facebook posts or make a video on YouTube or TikTok. It can have explosive growth and sales for your product, absolutely. And you don't really have to go through all the bells and hoops of setting up online ads and stuff like that. What you do need, usually with affiliate marketing, is a really solid e-commerce store. So if they have 10,000 or 100,000 people come to your store at the same time because they all just saw the same post, you don't want it to crash your store or your website. So build a robust website and you can have professionals test it for load and make sure it can handle 100,000 simultaneous users. Hopefully you got that many in an hour. That'd be great. And yeah, that's my recommendation is it's a great idea and make sure you have good infrastructure to back up what could be an influx of order requests coming in really fast. And of course, have the capacity to fulfill those orders. If you're selling through Amazon, then Amazon can typically fulfill any number of orders, right? That's kind of unlimited capacity. But if it's you, yourself, or a small team, that could be a real issue trying to fulfill many orders at once. So just make sure you've got the right setup before you would have an influencer really go to bat for you and have that post go out.
Cameron, is that in the digital marketing workshop?
It is in digital marketing. Yeah.
Okay, so if you all go out to our training, I dropped that in the chat too. You can see a recording too for the digital marketing workshop
Right.
to find
Thank
out
you.
more about the affiliate marketing. Okay, we have another question. If you provide your own shipping, any advice on how to ship inexpensively?
Yes. Well, assuming you're just shipping within the US, that keeps it a little bit more simple. The USPS, the Postal Service, is generally the cheapest. They're also the slowest, and perhaps they have the worst kind of reputation for losing packages, but they're the cheapest. Then you have UPS and FedEx, which are similar. They're both, they compete very closely in price. You also have DHL, which that has some advantages in maybe more rural areas. But overall, I think your cheapest is always USPS, and then you have UPS and FedEx, and you can consider DHL. DHL is a bit of a smaller shipper than UPS and FedEx, so you don't see them used quite as much. But yeah, it just usually what you would do is you would offer a range of choices to the buyer and say to the buyer, look, if you're shipping with USPS, it's $10. FedEx is $14. UPS is $16. Um, all of those prices can be calculated automatically as soon as you know their address. So if you're using Shopify, for example, or even your own website, you build your own website for e-commerce, you'll put in your shipping address, your origin address, and as soon as you have the buyer's address, the algorithm can calculate the exact shipping cost for every carrier, which is great. And then you can just let the buyer pick which one they want to pay for. You can say second day air costs this much, the slow USPS costs this much. And then that's just automatically added to the credit card payment in the checkout process. So that's the best way to handle it is just use one of these algorithms, which are easily available on Shopify, and I'm sure all the major shipping platforms as well as your own custom website.
Wonderful. Right now, we don't have any other questions. So we got about 15 minutes. So I'll put a shout out. If you have any questions, drop them in right now so we can pick Cameron's brain. And we did have a thank you for this insightful session. Thank you for being here,
You're
Doris.
welcome.
And Cameron, now, if you want to share any last, aha moments or insights while we wait for more questions, I'd love to
Yeah,
hear.
well, I think it's just if you're starting off in this or you're expanding your e-commerce sales, it's important to keep an eye on what's happening with the technology. We've all heard of for months now, maybe TikTok, the platform will be banned or something in the US. That would impact E-commerce sells quite a bit. A lot of products are sold and advertised on TikTok. So just be aware, every couple of weeks, see what's happening with e-commerce and digital marketing news, because you wouldn't want to say create this huge TikTok marketing campaign if in 2 weeks they're banned in the US. I mean, who knows? It could happen. So it's important to be aware of what's happening. So it's a good idea to attend conference sessions like this through the SBDC, so we give you up-to-date information and also answer your questions.
Wonderful. I don't see any other. We just got another thanks. Good info. I agree. I don't see any other questions hopping in, so we can all like go grab our lunch now, and I'll go ahead and wrap us up. So again, thank you all for attending. Cameron, thank you for all this wonderful information. As a reminder, you will receive an email with a link to the recording, and you'll get a copy of the slides. If you would like to sign up for upcoming webinars or access recorded webinars, please visit virginiasbdc.org/training. This webinar and other SBD resources are designed to be used in collaboration with your local SBDC advisors. You can sign up for a free and confidential session by emailing help@virginiasbdc.org or via our website. And we do hope to see you all at our next session. Take care, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.